Good morning from Nova Motorcycles. This is Bailey. Today we're getting into a rack of carbs from a 1984 Honda CB650 SC Nighthawk. Yeah, basically we start off by yanking them from the bike, which is a job in itself. And with something like this, we're going to have to go through the whole thing, which means de-racking the carbs from themselves, because we got to get to the fuel rails because these have O-rings that seal the fuel. And over time, those O-rings break down and won't seal. So we're going to have to de-rack them completely, which gives us a great opportunity to clean them fully. In addition to cleaning everything extensively, we make sure that, by this point in time, there's a good chance that people have been in these carburetors before. So we want to make sure that all the jets are the proper size, which we use pin gauges to make sure that they haven't been reamed out. Sometimes when people clean jets, they'll use something really abrasive and they can actually open up the orifice, making them too rich. So I like to verify that those are all metering properly, and then make sure that the float needles themselves are sealing. We might need to replace them. I don't know what the condition of them are, but if I have to replace them, I will. We'll set the float height properly. I don't have any of my tools handy, but here we go. But yeah, making sure that all our settings are proper before going back together is imperative. So these have been replaced recently because you can tell that there's no ring around the tip, which indicates wear, and the tip is still rubbery and squishy, which is great. And then yeah, you'll check the float for holes and stuff like that, which you can do by submerging them, watching for bubbles. You can shake them, see if there's any fuel in them, but these carbs have been dry for a long time. This bike has been sitting outside actually for a couple years. It was running about 4 or 5 years ago, so shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, so I found something interesting just on disassembly so far is this float bowl has been, this is not epoxy, I think this is silicone, which indicates that it was leaking at one point. And I look in here, and it's not a crack, but it is a machined little slit. And what that tells me is someone had done some Dremel work, and I know exactly what they were doing because the float bowl sits like that. And what they were doing was cutting, these usually have little nubs on them to prevent people from being able to adjust them on the bike, because in the 80s, EPA came in and started to, eliminate the access to being able to richen up your bike, for emissions control. So they put on these little security caps that are cemented on. And what people do is they either chop off these nubs or they remove that security cap altogether. But so what somebody did was they took a Dremel to chop that off, and I think they zipped this hole in this float bowl. So I'm gonna have to either braze that or I might just epoxy it. We'll see. I actually might have some of these kicking around out back. So yeah, and then we'll have to see what the condition of the diaphragms are underneath here. We haven't gotten that far yet, but the rubber in there, over time it'll dry rot, and if there's cracks in there, then you're not going to be able to, get the bike to run as smooth as it wants to. This could be a good candidate for an ultrasonic cleaner. Once we get the carbs apart, we get the choke valves out, all the rubber parts off of it. We could chuck each carb into the ultrasonic cleaner to really get them clean. That's definitely an option here. It's not mandatory because they're really, as far as carbs go, they're not that bad. Like, that seems gross, but I've seen so much worse. Letting these soak with a little bit of carb cleaner would really go a long way. Yeah, so other than getting everything clean, getting all of your settings right before they go back together, getting things bench synchronized by eye, just so when you get them on the bike, it'll start up, then you can synchronize them by vacuum. That goes a long way. Other than that, that's all there is to it, man. That's all I got. Tune in next time. Like and subscribe. Thank you.
Alessa.
This is Alessa. This is our new friend. She's learning.
Yes.
Nice.